politician interview.
To weigh in, strategist Cliff Maloney.
Talk with Cliff Maloney Jr.,
President of Young Americans for Liberty.
Supposed to protect the right of different ideas.
The establishment can't buy that.
Former National Youth Director for the Rand Paul presidential campaign.
We're $22 trillion in debt. And why? This is the problem with socialists.
Care about the ideas. People finally hearing the principles of liberty.
You asked the questions. Thank you to everyone on Parler. Thank you to everyone who participated. And without further ado, Cliff Maloney Jr. The backstory. Cliff and I met on the Rand Paul 2016 presidential campaign. He was working, I was working. He was doing far more than I was. I came to headquarters once. But he has been a huge inspiration to me. I'm very grateful to interview him today. He took the campaign with them after it ended and created so much passion in so many youth. Inspires me. Another thing I wanted to add, Cliff is an opinion contributor to The Hill, and he just wrote an article this July 3rd. You could find this article linked in the description box. Fascinating read. I highly recommend it.
I got eaten alive for that op-ed, to be clear. I've never got so many random hate emails in my life. So that's how you know you're over the target.
It happens. Moving on, let's get to Parler. Before I get to those questions, real quick, follow Cliff Maloney on Parler. Follow Young Americans for Liberty on Parler. Question number 1, @nboots0 asks, how welcome is Young Americans for Liberty on college campuses? Do you face resistance? Also, what is the criteria for which schools you choose to join?
Yeah, it's a great question. So college campuses right now in America, the word I use to describe them when they're in session is emotional, right? It's just jam-packed with emotion. You're not having much of a conversation. You're not having much of a debate. People realize it's easier, or they're moving in this direction, which I disagree with, which is it's easier to shut down speech. And so at YL, we are focused on trying to actually engage in conversations, connect with students. So what we do is we work to make sure, we work with groups like FIRE, Foundation for Freedom, and they pretty much serve as pro bono free speech attorneys. I think one of the problems that libertarians and conservatives both have is they don't fight. And you need to fight smart. I know that a lot of people get energetic and they want to be involved in online comment threads, but really going after the source. And on these college campuses, that source is the administration using the student code of conduct to dictate what ideas can be said and what ideas can't be said. So it's a long answer to a short question, in that yes, we fight back, but I think you have to go after the target. We've done this. We've won over 60 of these cases where we've actually gone in and fixed the codes, and now they can't push back. They don't have the excuse to be biased in their interpretation of the rules, and then all ideas get to be heard. So I'd encourage everybody out there that believes in free markets and believes in the Constitution, call us, work with us. We're happy to help connect you with pro bono attorneys if people are shutting down students. But right now it's so emotional on the left, they continue to turn to silencing and shutting down ideas rather than debating, which I think means we're winning.
Good, great. So our next question is from @WonderWolf. Is there really a silent majority, or have opinions in this country changed so drastically that this political theory is no longer relevant?
One of the case studies that we look at is when we're engaging with students on campus or young people across the country, let's say through social media, we've kind of found that most people are tired of the message they've been getting that is of victimhood. That is that every single time there's a problem in society, or that this individual has a problem, they're presented with one answer: government, right? We need some sort of government bureaucracy. We need some sort of government committee. You have to turn to government and entrust government as if they're the only ones that can fix the problem. What we're finding is, call it a silent majority, call it a reaction to what people are getting. They're sick and tired of that message. People want something new. The American message, the American spirit, is one of optimism. It's one that says that we should be able to go out and create, that we should be able to fix our problems, not through elected officials, not through giving up our liberty to somebody else to fix it, but through us, through our community, through us locally, with our families, with our friends, with our neighbors. And so I think that's what represents a silent majority. I think this idea that people want to solve problems, they don't want to turn to government, and you're seeing that reaction across the country right now.
Very true. That's fascinating. @DSharon54 asks, why is there such a divide? Is there absolutely no middle ground anymore?
That's a great question. What I found is that the divide A lot of it is in rhetoric only. Now, people will get mad at me when I say this because they'll say, well, you know, the difference between Nancy Pelosi and Kevin McCarthy being the leadership in the House, it seems like it's night and day. But in reality, we've had the same monetary policy, the same foreign policy, and the same domestic policy, minus the rhetoric, right? But the rhetoric divides, and these politicians, and by the way, I'm not saying I'm for what they're pushing. I think one of Trump's message that really hit people was this drain the swamp, because people are tired of government continuing to grow. So I think we do need something new, but to think it's divided, this is what these politicians do. They get on the floor of the House or the Senate, they debate each other, they get their clips so they can put them out on social media, they can fundraise off them, they can get their base all drummed up, and then they go out to dinner and they have beers and steak, right? I mean, it's a show, it's political theater, and I don't mean that in some conspiratorial way. I mean, that's the industry, right? And it's something that has happened for years and years. But I think if we really want to fix the divide, if you're somebody out there who says, you know, Camille, I'm looking to really be solution oriented, you need to focus on policy. You need to focus on actual solutions. It's one of the problems I have with a lot of these protesters, in that if you're protesting, I can at least support it if it's peaceful and you have a solution, right? You have something you're putting forth. You have something you're bringing to the table is, look, we've identified this problem. Here's the solution. A lot of times you don't hear that. And that's what causes this divide, is people are just kind of mad, but they're not coming to the table like adults. And so you can scream and you can be upset, but rational adults, once you're done doing that, you have a solution. So I'd encourage all of your listeners, all of your followers out there, all of your viewers, figure out what a solution is and work towards that solution. And even if the solution is not 100% correct, if at least it's moving us in the right direction, that's a good thing. And I think the more we focus on that, the more you see less of a divide, because people are attracted to people who are forward thinking, that are solutionaries, as my friend Maj would say, that are people that are thinking about how we impact society. That would be my encouragement, is focus on real solutions to real problems.
Yeah, that's really good. I saw at the beginning, I think you were going to debate activism in politics, and you said something about how Young Americans for Liberty, it's not based on party, it's more based on policy. And I think that's really great to look into what candidates actually are doing. Really smart. Alex Wead with a K asks, why do you think Biden is pulling higher than Trump, honestly?
So here's my take. You know, YAL is laser focused on state legislative races. I'm playing the long game. So we take our college students, we get them all excited, we get them engaged, they're eager to spread the message of liberty. And then we're trying to build a bench by taking them out and door knocking in state legislative races across the country. But of course, I can't avoid talking about the idea that there's a presidential race. There are federal races at the U.S. Senate and U.S. congressional level. But what I have found with Biden that fascinates me is so many of my friends on the left, they give him a pass on some of the most crucial issues that liberals of yesterday used to scream about. So I think the first thing is war. Okay, think what you want about Trump. His rhetoric on foreign policy has been the most pro-troop I have probably seen in my entire lifetime. It's factual. The guy talks about withdrawing from the Middle East. You know, I'm like kicking myself when I hear these things. I mean, I'd like it to happen sooner, but that is a big step. And I don't understand how the anti-war left gives Biden a pass. This guy supported the war in Iraq. That was a complete failure. This guy supports the continuation of nation building, of policing the world. All of these positions that the true progressives, the true liberals, if you will, of the left used to stand for. And so I see disconnect on that. I see disconnect on criminal justice reform. This guy was the architect of the 1994 crime bill. Cut me a break. If you really care about African Americans in this country, that is one of the most racist pieces of legislation that caused a disparity between minority families in America and non-minority families. And so Joe Biden needs to own that. And I don't see that. Why do I think he's winning? Let me take off my ideological hat and just talk as an operative. This cycle, I expect they're going to spend about $2 billion against Joe Biden. Now, this is Republicans. The Democrats will spend about the same against Trump, but Trump's already been painted. People know Donald Trump. You like him, you hate him, you know who he is. You've got an opinion. Joe Biden has never had anywhere near the amount of money that's about to be spent against him. And so I think people don't realize that, I wouldn't say it's your typical fluctuation in polls, but I don't care. I mean, Camille, if I had $2 billion to paint you in a negative light, that's a lot of money. I'm kind of waiting to see what the message is, how the Republicans paint Biden, how he responds. And I think that's, if you're really engaged in the race and trying to follow it, that's what you need to look at. Because there's certain moments that will matter. Sure, there's news cycles, there's how Trump responds as president, there's how Biden responds. But two things to me stick out. One is, how do they paint each other when they spend real money, big money, with a message? And how do they do in the debates? Because I think debates, you're always looking for an audience. When we talk about reaching people, you want an audience. When you have debates, you have an audience. When you spend $2 billion, you're going to force an audience, right? People are going to be forced to pay attention. So those to me are the two pivotal moments. And then the other factors are your typical factors. What's the market look like? Do people trust Trump's leadership? Do people trust Biden's cognitive ability? I mean, I still think that's going to be a big message within the Trump campaign. You're seeing digital ads now. So all of these pieces come together to tell me that, do I think Biden would win if the election were held today? I think he'd win the popular vote. I don't know if he'd win in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Florida, Wisconsin. So I think it would still be close, but I think we've got a lot of time, and there's going to be a lot of money and a lot of messaging to try to drive who these people are, and then we'll see where it falls.
Wow, yeah, lots of great points there. Next question, and our last question, is from @NetlerLins. Where are all the Republicans? Why are they not speaking out against the looting, killing, violence in Joe Biden more? Yes, President Trump does not always use the right words, but why aren't they out there more?
So I think that question is very, very well stated, because I've had the same kind of reaction. I mean, look, people can be sensitive and people are scared to speak up in today's age, and that's fine. But here are the facts. Looting is not liberty. Okay, let me say that again. Looting is not liberty. Damaging property is not liberty. Private property is one of the cornerstones of what this country was founded on. The idea that you would have, your own property that would be respected, and the idea that others can't just tarnish it with no reprimand and with no punishment. So I have tried to take an approach, agreeing with the person asking the question, that we do need to speak out. I mean, if you look at YAL's pages, we take a lot of heat because we are speaking about this. I think if you do it in the right way, and here's how I'd recommend to your viewers how you thread the needle. Lead with a solution. I'm going to always go back to that. Like, one of the things we did is we said, okay, listen, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of energy, there's different people protesting. Black Lives Matter means something to this group, maybe not to this group. So let's not call out the labels. Let's not say Black Lives Matter is horrible, or let's not praise all Black Lives Matter. Like, obviously there are certain people that have good intention. The looting, not good. Damaging personal property, not good. Let's now talk about the solutions. So YAL, I mean, we listed off 6 things that we originally said. We're like, look, here are 6 different areas that we've been working on, and we'd love other people to work with us, regardless of race, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of where you come from. It doesn't matter. Work with us on this, and we think it'll benefit society. And I'd like to see more of these national groups doing that, pushing for real solutions, because if you think there's a problem, which I think everybody, regardless of what side you're on, you would say there's a major uproar. There's turmoil in the country. So what are the problems we can agree on that are problems? And then what are the solutions? And so I would really, really push all of these individuals who are not just Republicans. It's right. Why aren't more Republicans speaking out? But anybody that is sitting on the sideline, I'd ask you, speak out, not with emotion, but speak out based in rational thought and with real solutions. That's what I'd advocate for, and that's what we're doing at YAL.
Awesome. Couldn't agree more. I wanted to mention Mobilize 2020 conference. I saw the promo, I got goosebumps. I'm gonna play the promo for you now because it's that good. This is for the Young Americans for Liberty conference coming in August.
Feed the rich and feed the poor. This is class war.
So let me take this opportunity to define for you what democratic socialism means to me.
Communist leaders frequently call themselves socialist.
The president spent a lot of time on using the S word, socialism.
Yeah. I was flattered.
Okay, fair enough.
And I also was able to get past an assault weapons ban.
You can also find the sign up link in the description box below.
Who's going to be speaking at the conference, can I ask?
Yeah, so we've got a really jam-packed lineup. The event's in Dallas, August 6th, 7th, 8th, yaliberty.org/mobilize. But the speakers, those that are announced currently, we've got Congressman Thomas Massey coming. We've got Kennedy from Fox Business. We've got the mayor of Knox County, Glenn Jacobs, the wrestler Kane. So he'll be there. And we've got some other things in the works. The keynote lineup, we've got Governor Kristi Noem in South Dakota, who kept her state open during all of this and chose freedom over mandates, which we're a fan of. And so it really is an opportunity for people to come out, not just students, but activists, to really experience not just the ideas and do a deep dive on the ideas, but the tactics, right? The strategy, the ability for us to do what we do, which is to be effective grassroots advocates, both on campus and in the community. But I'd encourage anybody, come check it out. Seats are filling pretty quick. It's invite only for attendees. So I want to encourage everybody to take a look.
Awesome. Well, it looks really exciting. Thank you so much, Cliff. Thank you for joining us today and for this interview. Good luck to you.
I appreciate it, Camille. Take care and good luck with everything.